Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
And good day.
And good day.
And bundle up.
Bundle up.
For a nice winter treat.
It's cold out.
Tag.
It's cold out there today.
Brando podcast.
It's cold out there every day.
There every day.
Put on your booties, because it's a cold one out there. I didn't watch that movie this year, so I forgot the thing. Did you see the commercial with the Bill Murray and the Groundhog Day?
I did see that, and I wanted to know how much they paid Bill Murray to reprise his role and seem so giddy.
Right. He seemed very happy about it.
Yeah. I think it was a great commercial.
It was a great commercial.
It hit all the right points.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bill and his brother and
what? Ned Needlelander? Ned the Head? Needle-Nose Ned?
Ryerson? Ned Ryerson?
What did I say?
Ned Needlemeyer? Yeah. Ned Ryerson.
Ned the Head? Needle-Nose Ned?
Yeah.
Phil?
Man. That is...
It was good.
A classic good movie.
Absolutely. This is not at all what we're talking about today, but that is a great movie, and I actually want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is kind of it is a classic in the fact that it's ironic that you can watch that movie over and over and over again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So hopefully not spoiler alert for Groundhog Day, but if you haven't seen it, then that commercial made no sense to you.
Yeah, you were like, hey?
So, yeah. But
I got you, babe.
Yeah, how much my question is this, how much did they pay Bill versus how much did they pay for the rights to that song?
I don't know.
I want to say like it's got to be like
4%
of what
I must say,
Bill.
I don't think about this a lot, but I bet Cher likes that song's in that movie, because I bet she gets some royalties all the time for that movie.
Right. Every year around February 2nd.
Right.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Someone's playing it. Yep.
Like, yeah, it was like, the Super Bowl and everything, and a couple of other weird things launched. Like there was some Chris Rock thing on Facebook.
Okay.
On 2/2/22 or 2/2/20.
Ooh.
But nobody really played it up for the palindrome that it was. Because not only is it a palindrome in the fact that it's 02/02/2020, but it's also you're like, I was thinking about it like, oh, well, next year it'll be okay and everything. Next year it's not going to be okay, because what if we switch to doing it where we do the date, month, then the year? This is like the only time where the date, month, and year really, it doesn't matter which way it is.
Right.
02/02/2020 palindromy, but it doesn't matter if it's day or year first.
Right. Well, and there's a video that you should go watch to that effect. Follow a guy. His YouTube channel is Stand Up Maths, because he's British, so they say maths.
Okay.
And his latest video is why 2/2/2020 is the most palindromic date ever.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about it before and I thought about it after, but I didn't think about it on the day.
I'm sending this to you now.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to watch it now. Watch it on your own time.
Oh, this is the listener's time.
This is their time.
This is their time.
This is their time down here.
Yeah. Well, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
So, let's get to it. Let's do it. I like that as like a little mantra.
Absolutely.
Okay. You ready for a little question?
Yeah, hit me. What do you got?
Because what we do on this show is we ask a question of the day.
Yes.
We do a triggered memory.
That's also true.
and then we give you each a new. One new.
Yeah, give them something new to talk about.
Yeah.
How about love?
Oh, that's better than the other song I was thinking about.
Nice.
That's not for the kids out there.
No,
they won't get that reference in two different ways. Anyway, the question of the day today, Taggart, with the snowiness around. It's always a little bit of a treat and a little bit of a scare to wake up with the snow covered car and roads and everything. So my question is this: when it's snowy and you got to get somewhere, do you prefer to drive the back roads that aren't necessarily plowed, but are traveled less, so there's fewer cars and you're probably going to have to go a little bit slower?
Yes.
Or travel on a main street like a freeway where it's plowed, but there's also a lot of cars going the same way or opposite way that you're going.
Right. Number one, please.
Okay. Tell me why.
Oh, is that part of this?
Yeah. Expand.
I don't want to be around very many dumb people when it's snowy outside.
Okay.
And the increase of the statistically, I will be running into more dumb people on the freeway than I will on the back roads, just because of the fewer amount of people that I will run into.
It's fair.
There will still be some, but it will be less, statistically speaking.
Okay.
And honestly, you get on the freeway, and even though the cars might be moving, you might be going too fast. Other people are definitely going too fast.
That's very true.
And so, even though you might be like, I'm doing great, I'm under the speed limit, I'm driving good for these conditions, some other guy's like, I'm in a truck and I'm driving way too fast. And he doesn't realize that he's going to be in the ditch for sure. And, he could hit you and take you with him. So, I don't know. I like the back road here. Even though there's more snow on it, sometimes if it's icy, more snow is better anyways. It gives you more traction, and you're not, you're less likely to hit that icy patch if you got some snow in your treads. So, and I don't mind going a little slower if I get there safely and less stressfully. So that's why I say numero uno.
So I guess that's the real question: does it stress you out driving in deeper snow, or stress you out driving with other drivers?
Well, I think, especially if people are passing me like a lot, then that's gonna worry me more than if I can take my time. Because it's just, again, the factor of I have control over me, and if there's less people around me, I know that I'm gonna more likely to be fine because I can drive in the snow. I'm a good driver in the snow, and I know that. Versus when you're on the freeway or whatever, and or just even when there's a lot of cars around you, and the factor is much higher that someone else is going to do something that you're not going to be able to then control what you do. Enough to save your bacon, Right. That's all.
Like somebody tailgating you've given the car ahead of you enough space.
Right.
But then they don't realize that you're stopping or you're slowing down or whatever, and then they brake too late, and then they run into you run into the car in front of you.
Yeah.
Or
right.
whatever.
And if they usually side with the person who hit you from behind. That's usually how it goes.
They usually side. No, isn't it that person's fault?
That rear ends you?
Yeah. I thought
you're right.
My understanding
You're right.
is if you run into anything, that's your fault. Unless somebody
you're right.
ran a red light or something. Yeah.
You're right.
But it's interesting you said about like the crazy drivers and everything like that, because what it makes me think of is the fact that if you're going on a road that's like speed limit of 30 miles an hour,
yeah,
or 45 for our Canadian listener, 45k.
Noise.
But anyway, if you're going on a road that's 35 or 30 to 35, and you're only going 15, then the people on that road are much more likely to be like, all right, seems like a good speed for everybody. Let's all give each other space at 15 miles an hour, right?
Right. Versus on the freeway, if
you're on the freeway,
yeah,
exactly. If you're on the freeway and you're going 35 in a 70, people freak out.
Oh yeah.
It's still half. But even if you're going 55 in a 70 and you're only 15, 15.
They're like, come on, man, get going. Yeah. What is this?
It's just
Pasadena.
No matter the conditions on the freeway, people expect to be going fast.
Right.
And everything like that. So it's just that weird headspace, and it just is, it gets dangerous and everything. And I, like you said, it's one, being a good driver, and two, having a car that is built to do its job in the snow.
Right.
Right. I saw this guy, we just had a huge snowstorm here a day before you, and there's this guy in his Mustang.
You don't drive a Mustang in the snow.
Yeah, in the middle of, no, it was the horse. But
he was driving his horse?
No. So
he had 1 horsepower.
Yeah, he was stuck in the left turn lane because that obviously doesn't get as much attention or patted down as much and everything. And he's just like,
he's just spinning.
Yeah.
Rear wheel drive.
Of his car, rear wheel, big old power, big old flat tires, and it's just like,
what?
I'm like,
stay home.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta go deliver pizzas. Hilarious.
That was okay. We had this a little bit at work when it was super snowy. Somebody suggested that we get DoorDash to deliver a pizza.
Okay.
And I was like,
why don't you just have the pizza delivery guys deliver it?
Yeah, I was like, and the girl said, well, sometimes pizza places, they don't want to risk their drivers, but DoorDash people, since they're kind of like independent, that it's like, if they're out and they'll risk it. You're more likely to get a, because there's no corporate whatever, it's just that guy deciding if he wants to make money or not, or that girl who just has, this thing. So
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but if he goes to pick up the pizza, that isn't the pizza delivery guy going to be like, get out of here, scab. like that's kind of a weird, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's not true, by the way.
Oh, for a man that delivered pizzas.
And no, you're expected to deliver pizza. Like your store might understand that it might take you longer to deliver pizzas, and they say, make sure you drive safe and you get there safe. Don't overdo it, even underdo it. Like, take it easy. Get to where you need to go. If you're up and it's going to a place where you don't think you can get to, pass it on to somebody else who can take it. Like,
like if your car isn't good enough.
Right. If it's up a mountain and you're like, I'm not going to make it up there, give it to the dude who's got 4-wheel drive. But no, they expect you, if you're working that day, you're delivering pizzas. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like in your job description. So,
yeah. And that's kind of it, is you can have a car for half the season, half the year, or you can have a car that, you can drive all year long,
right.
or, whatever, it's kind of up to you. But yeah, definitely, that anytime I can take a back road,
You're on that back road. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, if I get a glimpse of the freeway before I go home and it's then yeah, give me the extra 20 minutes of actual driving than sitting there in bumper to bumper.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I much rather feel like I'm moving, even if I get there slower, than if I got to sit for half the time.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be moving forward. So
yeah, because there's a couple of times when we got stuck in the snow coming from Utah to Colorado, from Colorado to Utah, and there's just plenty of time when I'm just like, you know what? I can either sit here stressing out in this traffic for the next hour and be 10 miles from where I am right now.
Right.
Or I could pull over, sleep for an hour, wait for it to clear, and then just keep on driving.
Right.
And I definitely will do that if it's like, oh man, if there's a place to pull off and I can just sit. Because if it's like nothing, then sitting there just makes me so irritated. So
yeah, man, yeah.
Unless you're stuck in Laramie, then just keep driving. Don't get out of the car.
Yeah, because they're going to close that freeway down.
Oh, man. When was that?
Oh, well, I don't remember. But it was when your brother was still in school.
So we have an 8-year window there. I shouldn't really make fun of him, but still.
Yikes, bro. Was he there for 8 years?
No, he was in the ROTC for 8 years because he did like a year. Then he went to the Dominican Republic for 2 years, and then he came back, and they were about to kick him out because he's like the longest, supposedly like one of the longest candidates or cadets, I should say.
Right.
And everything, but yeah. So yeah, Laramie is a 1-horse town, and that horse is
Wingers.
He's Winger. I was gonna say the cowboy, but yeah, like it is a college town where during the summer the population drops 70%.
Right.
Because people that actually live there are so few and far between.
Yeah, so we went up there and we stopped.
Wyoming.
We stopped to see your brother, and we were going to plan to hang out that night and take off in the morning. Well, did it really snow? I mean, it did snow. It snowed.
Right.
And
no, it snowed.
And the thing about Wyoming, too, is that Wyoming is windy. Windy.
Yes.
And so once snow starts going, the wind just drifts over the freeway. And so you have these huge drifts, and so they got to close the freeway down so you can't get out. It doesn't matter if you got a big truck or a small hoopty. You're not getting out of there, you know?
Right.
So that's what happened.
The biggest thing.
We got shut down.
The biggest thing is it's super snowy, super icy because that wind just strips away any insulation on anything.
Right.
But then it's also like a truck superhighway because it's not as mountainous and hilly as I-70.
Right. And
so you got semi trucks just hauling.
Yeah.
And
if the wind's too high, even if there's no snow, they'll shut it down. Yeah.
They'll shut it down because they just topple left, right, and center. Like I've driven on that road and just passed maybe 10, flipped semis or tipped, I should say. if they flipped, ooh, that's bad.
That's a bad time.
Yeah, but I mean, they'll just, but yeah, we got stuck in Laramie for like 2 days. It was bad.
Was it a whole 2 days? We were there a whole day, and we fell asleep, and I think we were able to get out the next day.
Yeah, but that's
and we joke, and we
2 days. That's 2 days too long.
Yeah, and we joke that on the snow day we did everything there is to do in Laramie. We went to Wingers, we went bowling, we went to Applebee's,
and I got a haircut.
Oh, and you got a haircut? Yeah,
yeah. I got a haircut because my brother is friends with this barber, but my brother doesn't grow his hair.
He didn't. He didn't need a buzz, but he wanted to go talk to this guy. So he's like,
"Yeah,
you need a haircut, right?"
So we braved the streets to get this freaking barber to cut my hair while my brother just talked about girls basketball.
It was pretty funny.
Oh, and we played a lot of drunk games sober, which
was not fun. I did not have fun doing that.
But you're really good at them when you're sober.
Yeah.
Except for, I don't know, beer pong. I'm just not good at beer pong in general. Well, I guess I don't know.
I don't think most people are, but I don't know.
But like flip cup and a bunch of those things, easy peasy when you're sober. So
that's funny.
But yeah. So keep some stuff in your car, blanket, some stuff, and everything. A little, even if you just like have it in there in the winter and take it out, but you should, make sure you have precisions because sometimes you're gonna get stuck, and
for sure,
there's not gonna be that nice little country road that you can take to divert, through the traffic and stuff. I remember one time, we were off the beaten path, and I'm glad we were because we were on this really windy mountain road. And it had, been plowed several times because the snowpack on either side of the road was taller than the car. Had to be like 6 feet. And we just decided because the freeway was so packed with people trying to go the normal way. We're like, well, what about this way? We'll just try this. And we're going. And it's like, oh, this isn't too bad, we avoided that accident, and we're going, just winding back and forth, and I was going a little too fast, and I spun out, like, around this bend, and we, like, almost hit the bank on one side, and I swerved and missed it, and almost hit the bank on the other side, and then we spun out, and we're sitting there perpendicular to either direction of traffic in the middle of the road, completely blocking to, like, if anybody was coming, we would have just gotten T-boned from either direction.
Oh my gosh.
But there was like no one there. We're like, oh. And it was good because I was on a blind corner and I had to like kind of Austin Powers my way back to the direction I wanted to go. Because it was, I was like, a little bit, there, okay, there we go. It was not a good situation.
Oh my goodness. So
go a little slower.
Yeah. Go slower. I have a okay, so let me tell you real quick. The worst drive that I have ever had where I was driving was after Thanksgiving one year. Both of my sisters were here and we needed to get to the airport the next day for their flight.
Okay.
There was a terrible snowstorm. We drove up the night before to my aunt's house who lives in Denver.
The night before the flight.
Night before the flight. And anyone who's familiar, we were in Colorado Springs. We were driving up to Denver to Lakewood. It takes about an hour on a normal day. This took me 3.5 hours to get up there. It was so snowy that there was no lane. You could see no lanes. you couldn't. You could, and it was, you could barely
They paint
see.
the lane lines white. They're the first things to go.
Right. And you could see the car in front of you, kind of, but it was really snowy, and so much so that it was almost foggy, but it was snow, it wasn't fog, but couldn't see too far ahead of us. I don't know, I probably went 25 the whole way almost. I literally thought the whole way up that we will die on this drive. I remember very vividly when we got to my aunt's house, getting out of the car, going and sitting in the basement by myself while everyone was upstairs, thinking, how are we alive? I'm glad we're alive. Like, I literally thought I was going to die. So anyways, that's the worst drive I've ever had, though. We did have a pretty dang bad drive coming back from North Dakota once with my band. Same kind of situation. It took us about an hour and a half to go like 10 miles or something.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying, man. Just pull off the side of the road.
So bad.
Camp it out.
Well, but it was night. It was nighttime, and it was not going to get any better.
Right.
And if we stopped, the scary part is when it's snowy like that, and you can't see because it's whiteout conditions. You can't really see where the road is yourself. Half of that drive, I was in the passenger seat with my head out the window, going, you're too close to the side. Go left a little bit. Now you're too far away. Come back. Because he couldn't see where he was on the road.
Right.
And in that condition, if you pull off to the side, you're either not getting out, or or somebody's not going to see you, and they're going to veer too far and they're going to hit you. So we went until we got to a town, and we stopped and ate, and then decided we could keep going, and it actually cleared up really fast after that point, which was good. But oh my gosh, it was terrible.
But that's what I mean, man. You stop, you eat, you do something, because you can't you try.
Yeah, no, it was the first place we got to when there was there's a Subway here, let's stop. It was the first town between when it got bad, and so anyways.
No, I have a real quick story. Similar thing when I was in Canada. We got caught in this snowstorm driving from Montreal to Ottawa. Yeah. And we got turned around at the Ontario border. Basically Ontario police are like, we're done. We're full. Ontario is full tonight. Turn it back around. It's like, what the heck, man? They're just like, nope. And so we got sent back into Montreal, and we're like, we don't have cell phones. We're just like 4 guys in this car. And so we're like, okay, well, we know a couple of buddies live down this way. So we're driving to their house, which is, another hour out of the way. Right. And as we're going over this bridge, and my friend who's driving, the windshield, okay, so we're driving, and this truck is just throwing slush just on the windshield, constantly and everything, and there's not really anything we could do about it. And then all of a sudden, the windshield wipers just give up. They're just done. And so he literally can't see anything. We're on this bridge. We can't stop. So he has to stick his head out the window
to see where he is on the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to make sure he doesn't plow into the truck or anything and veer, whatever. So he's just getting pummeled in the face with snow. And he's just like, And then he just every 5 seconds or so, he brings his head back in the car, shakes it like a dog, and just slush is just going everywhere, sticks it back out, keeps on driving, brings it in, shakes it off, and he's just like, and all this kind of stuff. At that point, the, morbid humor of it all that comes to us, and we are just laughing so hard because we're like, we are gonna die. We're gonna like get sandwiched in between these two trucks and pushed off the bridge, and we're all gonna die. But this is
Oh my god,
too funny, and just could not stop laughing.
That's bad.
And then we get there, and it's just like we're all just soaked from being in the car, and it's just it was too much.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, first thing he did, he's just like, well, it's like, I'm glad I brought extra contacts because these are just gone. Like, they're just like, I mean, they're like rock chipped. Like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad.
Yikes, man. Well, speaking of bad times in cars.
Oh, okay.
Wondered if we could talk about some fun times in cars.
Oh.
Because
nice.
today, for the
little sunshine on her.
For the triggered memory, we wanted to talk about car games of your youth. What did you do to pass the time while you was in the car? Because just a quick preface. For those who are children now, we didn't have internet, phones, or televisions in our cars. Tablets weren't a thing. We had to Etch-a-Sketch. That was the closest thing to a TV in our car that you could have.
Unless you had one of those cool vans with like a VCR or whatever.
I had one friend who had that. It's the only person I've ever known from that time frame that had that in their car. And it was teeny. But we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. So back in the day, people used to make up little games to play to pass the time. So what are some of the ones that you remember, B, that you guys would do?
Oh, yeah. So definitely, and that's the other thing is, you know, when you got 3 kids and in a family and stuff like that, like any time you have like more than one kid, I would think you're driving.
Right.
You're driving, going somewhere, you know.
Right.
Like, it's like we're going to Disneyland and we're going to drive there. Like,
right.
Kind of stuff. And so, definitely playing games. Well, this wasn't necessarily a road trip game, but the game we always played, and I'm sure even to this day, if it came up, you know, you get punched, is Slug Bug.
Slug Bug. Okay, what were your rules for Slug Bug? Because everyone's different, and ours might be the same because, you know, we grew up together.
We punch each other.
But what were your rules? How did you guys break it down?
So we started Slug Bug when there was really only the older model of Slug Bug.
Right.
So
old school VW bugs.
Yes. So the rules were, you say Slug Bug and then the color to make sure everybody knew which one you're talking about.
Right, because there could be multiple ones in your frame of view.
Mm-hmm. And then you could punch whoever you wanted in the arm. Then we add another level where if you saw a convertible, you would say convertible and then the color, and you get to punch someone twice.
Right.
This is, again, we lived in Colorado. This isn't, you know, Miami or California. Like,
right.
Not a lot of people invest in convertibles in Colorado.
Right.
Colorado Springs, at least. So convertible was worth 2, but then a Slug Bug convertible was worth a 3 hits.
Yeah.
So the Slug Bug convertible was like, you know, the crown jewel. And the thing about the game is when you're driving around town, you know where some Slug Bugs are just parked, just normally. Like, I don't know if you remember on Mirage, there was that black kind of souped up Slug Bug, you know, with like the fenders taken off and stuff like that. So, and you know, the big exhaust coming out the back.
Yeah. It was...
That one was always like, everybody's waiting for it. And it's like right when you, like, you know, come over the hill a little bit, you're just like, Slug Bug back! Boom! Slug Bug black! bam.
Yeah, dude, we definitely knew where a lot of those were, and we were waiting for them.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but then we kind of changed the rules a little bit when then the new ones came out, and then it became like they were super popular, and we're just like, you really can only do the old slug bugs because this is just abuse at this point.
Right.
So, did you have any variations to that?
No. From what I remember, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, our rules seem to have evolved together. Though I did remember that we did use the new ones too. And I don't remember the specifics of how that worked. Because those weren't super pop. I mean, plenty of those sold, I guess, but you still, for a time, you would definitely see the older ones more than the new ones,
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
I think it was when I was gotten to high school and like it wasn't like family anymore. It was like friends and stuff. So it was kind of just like, it was just kind of like, eh. And that was the other thing too, is when you start driving and going the same places, then, like there's that girl in your class that,
she's just a girl in my class.
Pink. Yeah. There's that girl that drives the pink new slug bug or whatever. And so you're just like, oh, wow. They're like, the other punching game that we had was Padiddle. Padiddle, also known as Perdiddle, but Padiddle was when one headlight was out.
Right.
Yeah, and so we had Padiddle, and then we had Double Diddle, and then we had Butt Diddle, and Double Diddles were two headlights out, but they had their running lights on, and then the Butt Diddle is one tail light out.
Oh.
We just made that up one day.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
I didn't get into the Padiddle game very much. It wasn't really my thing. Were you one that would do the kiss the roof thing if you ran a yellow light?
Oh, I still do that to this day.
Do you?
Yeah.
I couldn't recall.
Yeah.
Also was never one to do that.
I got that from my sister for sure.
Gotcha. Well, let's see. So for us, like Slugbug was a thing for sure. But like in big road trips, my family had a couple of games that we would play. One mainstay was the musical game.
Ooh, okay.
Where you pick a no, there was no real winners or losers, but you picked a musical. It was fun, and we passed the time. You pick a musical, say like West Side Story, though we probably wouldn't do that one, or I would not be good at that one. But you could pick a newer musical, like you pick The Lion King or something, and then you would take turns going around the car, and somebody would have to remember one of the songs from the musical and sing a little bit of it.
Okay.
And you'd go around and
encore style.
Yeah, but you'd go around until somebody couldn't think of one, or you sang all the songs from the show.
Got it.
So again, there was no real losing around, but you didn't want to get caught without a song. So, there was still some competition in it, but that was always fun. You'd do that for, a good couple hours going through some, a grip of musicals. Another one that that I sometimes played later in life was the alphabet game.
Yes.
And
so what were your rules with the alphabet game?
The rules with the alphabet game. So the alphabet game, you have to find every letter of the alphabet in the outdoors.
Yeah, not inside the car.
Not inside the car, and it could not be attached to It couldn't be on a license plate.
Oh, no license plate.
No.
Oh, we did not play that way.
Because
License plate were saving grace, man.
well, it made it a lot hard.
Hardcore.
It made it a lot harder
Right.
because if you couldn't use a
Right.
license plate, you're sitting there. You're like, "Where's the quality in? I need that Q. Where's La Quinta? I need that
Yeah.
Q." So yeah, it made it a lot harder.
But you have to go in order, right?
You have to go in order, right? You got to find A first, and then B, and then C, and so on.
If you pass the La Quinta too soon, it's the worst.
Right. No, yeah, you see it and you're on like D and you're like, oh no.
Waste.
We're in trouble. But that was that. And I'm sure most people understand the whole holding your breath through a tunnel. Maybe they don't. But that's a thing. That's a thing.
Oh, no. That's science.
That's science. Yeah, it's a scientific fact. You got to do that.
Yeah.
So we would do the thing where if you could hold your breath through a whole tunnel, then it's good luck or something. I don't really know why you do it, but that's the thing you do. So are you familiar with the story about me and our friend Jordan going through Eisenhower Tunnel?
Yeah, I thought you were going to mention that in the snow in the snow segment.
I thought about it because it definitely worked for both, but I thought maybe it's a direct result of playing a game the wrong way. So
With Jordan,
right. So we're coming from Utah. I think we're going east on I-70 through the mountains. And for those who aren't familiar, when you get pretty close to Denver, about an hour or so out, there is just ginormous tunnel that they built through the mountain to make I-70 even work. And it is named after President Eisenhower. It's Eisenhower Tunnel. Technically, one side's Eisenhower, one side's Johnson. But
yes.
you call it Eisenhower Tunnel. So we...
you pass the Continental Divide in that tunnel, if that means anything to anybody.
Yes, that's true. So we Jordan's driving his car. It's dry on the west side. As we're driving up to the tunnel, it's dry, it's great, it's wonderful. He starts. He's going through the tunnel. He's telling me on the way up, he's like, I'm going to hold my breath. I'm going to make it through this tunnel. And I was like, dude, nobody makes it through this tunnel. This tunnel is way too long to hold your breath. If there's any traffic, you're done. There's no way. So we get up to the tunnel and there isn't really any traffic. And he is holding his breath, but he's also driving, which it's just a very long time to hold your breath for one. Don't do that while you drive. It's not safe.
So, a little context.
Please.
Eisenhower Tunnel is 1.7 miles.
1.7 miles.
1.7 miles, and the speed limit is 50.
So 1.7 miles is 50. So even if you're going fast, if you're going 60, it takes you almost over 2 minutes. Over 2 minutes.
Well, no, if you're going 60, it takes you a little less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just about 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes to get through there. So you have to be, a world-class swimmer or free diver or something to have worked up a 2 minute breath hold. So we're going through and Jordan is holding his breath. And as we keep going, keep being surprised that he has not stopped and taken a breath. But I'm also getting acutely aware that we are slowly speeding up. And towards the end, not so slowly speeding up to get through this tunnel. so he does it. He's the only person that I know that has done that has held his breath through the tunnel. But when we got out the other side, he's going pretty dang fast. I would say at least 70, if not more than that. And the tunnel basically spits us out onto the east side, which is snowy.
Oh.
And we didn't know. So he comes out and immediately starts to slide. We're going down a mountain, it's not steep there. It's a scary grade. It's not like a 7%, but it's a scary grade.
Right.
Going down that side, and he starts fishtailing to one side, tries to overcorrects, fishtails to the other. We probably fishtailed about 5 times, though we were slowing down the whole time. We were starting to slow down. I thought, oh, he's going to pull this out. This is amazing. But he kept...
Do it.
But he kept overcorrecting, and we ended up, again, at this point, not going very fast, but we did hit the barrier on the right side of the road, which is just one of those little corrugated metal doodads.
Right, you can skid across. You can skid along it.
Right. And he cracked his bumper, but that was it. So we tied it up and we drove off, but we could have died. Because honestly, if we were going fast and hit that, we're going off into a cliff. We would have been dead. So sometimes games are fun and sometimes games kill. Be smart about what you play.
Well, be smart about how you play it. I mean,
absolutely.
That is the biggest factor.
Yeah, and don't play Saw.
Well, I mean,
those are dangerous games.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing goes for I think any of those punching games. You know, if you're
if you punch at the wrong time, man, you could die.
Yeah, so it definitely kind of factors into a lot of different things.
Nice.
But we also played the license plate game.
What was the license? Oh, trying to find the different states.
Find all 50 states and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, that was hard. That's a hard one as well.
That is a hard one. And that's the thing. As you preface this whole thing with the fact that you're just staring out the windows, man. Like maybe you got a book on tape going.
Right.
Maybe, you're having a somewhat of a conversation. A lot of people can't read in the car because it makes them car sick and everything like that. So you're just, you were just sitting there just writing for hours.
Right.
And everything and playing the dots game or something like, there's a couple of little things to pass back and forth between the different seats and stuff like that. But oh man, there was something I wanted to mention. I can't remember.
Well, when we went on our trip to Disneyland, we created. Well, I think we created the monster drawing game. Do you remember this?
Well, yeah, I remember because it is one of those accidental games that then just went on for hours.
Yeah,
and was really fun.
It was. So what we did is you had a piece of paper, and someone would either draw like a head of a monster or like a body of a monster or part of a monster. Towards the end, they got really involved, but it was either like half or another half. You would then.
Well, what happened?
Go ahead.
Well, if I remember correctly, the origin of this was you had a pad of paper.
Yes.
And you drew a monster. You just drew pretty much the monster, but you drew one of his arms too close to the edge.
Oh.
So you had to draw his hand on another piece of paper. And then that piece of paper got a monster on it with like a tentacle hanging off. And then we passed around the pad of paper and you had to finish off whatever the other person had drawn with like the body part that's, partially off the paper. So then we had this long chain of monsters with like everybody had like a little piece that was, dangling, and then we never actually mashed them all together. I never saw it all mashed together, but
I didn't remember that. I thought that we drew like a head and then you folded it over and like drew where the neck connected. So basically all somebody saw was like a neck or something, and then they would draw the rest of the monster.
That sounds familiar too, and that might have been a variation, but I definitely remember that there was a distinct, because if I remember it correctly, your first guy was very Patterson video of Sasquatch,
okay,
where like it was very like kind of Wolfman-esque, walking thing, and so his hand was like behind him, and it just like, you just ran out of space, and then we just like, oh, we'll draw it on this one. Oh, we should draw it on, and then with that kind of continued, and we may then evolved it into we'll just draw the head, and then we'll do the body and everything like that. So it was a long trip. So I'm sure we did a lot of that.
We did that for a long time. Yeah,
but
it's cool.
No, one other one I just want to mention, if anybody is looking for a great game out there,
they are.
Yeah, the Story by Word. I don't know if that's a good title at all, but the one-word stories.
Oh, dude.
The one-word stories was so good.
One that you, me, and Danielle made up was awesome. Oh,
you gotta have somebody writing it down, because
I wish we had. We did not do that.
But simple premise is you tell a story one word at a time, and you got to be doing it on a long trip, because you got to get to that silly, slapstick moment.
Dude,
but
that's where Tube Sock came from.
Yeah. And you go around and you tell a story, but each person does a word at a time, and it's a kind of a whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, it's kind of a little improv type game, but
right.
But dude, we did that forever on that drive.
Yeah, and it's so good because it's the psychology behind it, where you only have a third or a fourth or maybe even a fifth of a story.
Right.
And it takes all different directions and everything. The best part, without like trying to get into too much of it, was we went around and the story was something along the lines of like, and there were 12 elves named, and that named was just like right there, and or maybe it was like pixies or something like that. I can't remember, some kind of fantasy thing.
Right.
But that named just like kicked it into this. Now we have to come up with 12 names for fairies or pixies or whatever elves, and that's where so many good names came from. Yeah, and so definitely get yourself some good friends, some good sense of humor, and that's the game is. It's only good with the right people. And so if you don't have the right people in your life, then that should be your goal.
That's the number one priority.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Get some friends that can roll, son.
Yep. Oh, man. So, I think, and as a kid, I would have loved that game. That game would have been so much fun. Because, again, you have an idea of where you want it to go, but you're only able to steer it that way every couple of words.
Right.
And so somebody starts to veer it off in something, so you're just like, it's like, and she died, eventually, but it's
You
so
totally save it.
you could it's just like it's like and then somebody could say period and like as their word or whatever to end like a sentence,
Right?
but yeah, it's because you can paint some people into quarters or kill off their favorite character or something, and watch them try to struggle to save them and stuff like that. It's
That's amazing.
Very fun. Yeah. So those are some old things. So Taggart, what is new?
Well, I wanted to keep this car train rolling. This weekend, I was in Laramie, Wyoming, of all places, which we've already spoken of. We played a show there, and afterward, one of the guys and I decided that we would go to this calzone place that was open till 3.
Ooh, wait, 3 in the afternoon?
No, 3 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
No, this is
after the best calzone place ever, and they only are open for 4 hours during the middle of the day.
That's it. No, so they're open till 3 a.m. So we got done with our gig at like 1 or something, and thought, let's shoot over there and grab a bite. We take our lead singer's car, and we're driving. Okay. We're driving, and in Laramie, there's apparently not much for police officers to do, ? So they're all, and well, at least at that moment in time,
looking for drunk drivers.
They're all looking for drunk drivers. Absolutely. So I'm driving down a road that I've never driven down before, right? Mm-hmm. In a car that's not mine, so I'm getting used to the feel of it. It is early in the morning. I, of course, have not been drinking because I do not drink, but
they don't know that.
I was kind of tired, right? I just played a 4-hour gig, so, there was some energy expelled for sure. I'm driving down this road, and apparently I crossed the double yellow at one point. I don't remember seeing this. I don't remember this happening. Police officer pulled me over. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Do you know why I pulled you over? Well, I do know one reason. I say to the officer, is it the tail light? Because there is a tail light out on my buddy's car. And he's like, yes, the tail light, but also you were swerving onto the other side of the road. And I was like, what? And my friend with me is like, what? And the officer, of course, asked me, how much have you had to drink tonight? And in this situation, not to throw him under the bus, because he's almost done with this whole business, but the man has an interlock system in his car. So there's literally no way for me to start this car without being 100% sober. Because I got to blow in the thing, start it up.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
So I, of course, am not thinking of this, but my buddy in the seat, because the officer's like, right, you haven't had anything to drink. And I'm like, he's going to like get the sobriety cop and we're going to have a whole thing. And my buddy's like, this is like, there's literally no way. It's got the system. Like he took a breathalyzer before he drove, basically. And, we wouldn't be driving without it. So the guy's like, okay, give me your license, give me the registration. We can't find the registration. He's like, I'll be right back. So he takes the license back, blah, blah, blah. And we're calling the guy whose car it is anyways. Called him up and we're like, hey, buddy, where's the registration? And he's trying to help us find it. We can't find it. He comes back and we're like, hey, we got him on the phone. We're trying to find his registration. He's like, don't worry about it. Here's your license. Because he obviously knew that we weren't drinking. And he gave me the license. And he was like, oh, by the way, your license is expired. You should probably go get that taken care of.
Wow.
And I was like,
you're just like on all cylinders here.
What? But he didn't care. He was just like, go be safe because you don't want to get pulled over again because your license is no good. And I was like, So we trade. We get there, right, and we get our calzones. The whole time we're inside, I'm trying to renew my license on my phone, like online,
Right?
Like trying to get it going. And they had some kind of website issue where it disconnected from the server at some point. Maybe it was doing maintenance. It was 3:00 in the morning. I don't know, but I couldn't get it finished. I was like, "Dang it! Like you'll have to drive home because I can't." But I renewed my license yesterday online, so cool for that. But thank you, police officer. You were a nice gentleman. Sorry about stuff. So that's something new that happened to me. You should be aware of when your license expires. By the way, yesterday I told my wife that, and I went online and registered it, and she's like, "What?" Because your license always expires on your birthday.
Right.
So my license has been expired since October. Okay?
Right.
So she's giving me crap about it. And I'm like, I know, I'm so dumb, whatever. And so we're doing some other stuff where she has to give somebody her license information. She pulled her license out and was looking at it. And she's like, my license expired in January because her birthday was in January. And then she's like, I guess I can't give you a hard time. And I was like, dang straight. You didn't do it either. So anyways,
wow.
We've both been illegal for about a month. Well, not, her birthday was at the end of January. So it really wasn't that long for her, but me much longer. So there you go. Renew that license. Be safe on the road. Play some games. How about you, sir? What's new in your life?
I mean, this is just the theme for the episode, but it is also related to our automotive travels. Yes.
Did you guys realize that we did not plan this for the new at all? We planned the first two things, but the new we didn't plan about cars. So you're welcome.
Exactly. So recently, Stephanie's car has been having some issues. And it got to the point where it was just like, we should just sell it and get you a better car. And she just hates buying, to be fair, she has never purchased a vehicle from a vendor. She's she's only gotten them from family, and stuff like that. But, I've taken her to see some cars, and stuff like that, some things, and she just, the whole car buying process, she just does not like at all. So, from the pressure to the questions to the, price, everything is just, it's no good. It's not a good thing. So I've been trying to just figure out a good deal and all that kind of different stuff to save her the headache of having to go barter and pick out and everything like that. Because she has very little preference on what she drives as well. So, well, long story short, car issues came to a head in the form of head gasket being baroqued down, and it's not to the point where the engine's dead or anything, but there's definitely some mixage of fluids that don't like each other on a molecular level, and, that
sounds bad.
Yeah, water and in the engine and oil is bad news, and so so we kind of just saw the signs and
it opened up your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But the worst part is terrible snowstorm. So we're like, wow, what we should do is we should go car shopping today because no one else is going to be out.
Right.
And so we're going to be like, listen, buddies, like,
this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. Like, you want to make a sale today? You want to justify coming into work? You're going to give us a discount. Like, and everything.
Shooting from the hip.
Yeah. But, we're just trying to figure out, where to go and what all this kind of different stuff. And I find this car in the classifieds that's reasonably priced. It has all of that work done. It's a Subaru, like what she's driving now. Couple years newer, but it's got all that preventative maintenance already done, right? So it's like, oh, well, this car's good to go for another 100,000 miles, and everything. And I call the guy, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm not there. I only do it by appointment.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, it's really snowy outside. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know that it's really snowy outside. But could you be there like later, like maybe when the roads clear up a little bit, like, 4 o'clock or so? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. Okay, we'll see you there. And then it just got to the point yesterday where it was too much, and we're just like, we'll just, like maybe like an hour after that, we're like, let's just call him and set it up for tomorrow, right? So we set it up for today, and we go down there, and it's just this tiny little lot that is called Just a Car Lot. Okay, is the name of it. And
nice, straightforward, clear. Yep.
And I got there a little early, and this guy's like, "You looking for me?" And I'm like, I have an appointment at 5 with Evan." And he's like, "Oh, if you have an appointment with 5, Evan will be here." Okay. And the guy just drives away. And I'm like, all right. And so Evan is just this mechanic, and in his ad, I should read you the ad. It basically says, let me see here. I just want to actually pull it up because it's actually kind of funny. Here we go. 2004 Subaru Outback. No repairs needed. Suba Dude 54. I'm assuming he was born in 54.
Okay.
Yeah. This Suba Dude 54. Blah blah blah. Power locks. Collision repair. Blah 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 blah. And then it says safety and emissions. Buyer responsible for this. I'm a great mechanic, but a really bad salesman. If you're interested in this car or have a car to sell me, call Evan. Cars are shown by appointment only. And then he's like, call or text for appointments to see. I do prefer calls. So, so basically he's like, yeah, I'll do this, but if I don't have to text, I would prefer it and everything. So we went down there. Evan showed up, and he's just this nice older gentleman, like hands just black with your car grease and everything. And that's what he does is he buys older versions of cars, and he just fixes them up and sells them and stuff like that.
Nice.
And he I was like, hey, if you want to buy this car, here's what's going on with it and everything, and we can maybe use it as a trade-in, because I don't like necessarily selling cars either, because then people ask a million questions and you're like, oh, are you just gonna buy this or not? Like, this is everything I said in the description is everything that's in there,
right?
Right. So I'm like, he's saving us the headache of selling her old car in the condition that it's in,
right?
Which he is giving us a great deal on a good car that has been fixed up and has the maintenance and everything done. But the best part about this whole thing was he is a terrible salesman, because we're standing there in his lot with the 4 cars that he's, ready to sell and everything. And we're like, well, and it's like, well, we have that Subaru, so like that's what we kind of want to, trade in, and kind of talk about the if you, can give us a break on the price or whatever. And he's like, how many miles are on it? I'm like 118. He's like, well, why are you selling that? I'm like, well, like it's been overheating and stuff like that. He's like, oh, well, that's only going to cost you like 15 grand or like 1,500. And then it'll go for another 100,000 miles. I don't know why you're upgrading. He's like, well, we sat there talking more about how we should just fix the car that we have.
But you have a head gasket leak, I thought.
Yeah.
You can't fix that, really, can you?
Well, it depends on how bad it is. If it's just leaked and you haven't driven it, then yeah, you can change it and flush it out and machine the heads. And it's just the problem with the Subaru is it's not on the top of the engine. It's on either side, and you have to pull the engine out and do all that. So it's it's anywhere from like 1,500 to 25 to 30 or 25 to 3,000. So it's a big job, right?
Right.
And it's very common, around 100,000 miles, all this kind of different stuff. But that's what this guy deals with every day, all day, right?
Right.
That's
so he's
what
just like, I could do it.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know. He's like, yeah, like, it's like, and we're like, well, we were quoted, it was going to be 2,500. And he's like, well, you got to shop. And I'm like, I've shopped around, and like the lowest I saw was like 2,000 or whatever. If you're doing it in an actual garage and not like somebody's, backyard or whatever.
Right.
And he just would not let it go. He's like, you could sell that on, it's like, you could post that on the classifieds right now in the condition it's in, get at least, $2,000 for it. And this, that, and the other. It's like, I don't know why you're selling a car with so low miles. Like, I don't know what you're doing. And we're just like, well, you gotta.
Do you want the sale or not, buddy?
I know. Well, and this is the thing. I love this guy. Like, I'm like, I love the fact that I have to convince you to sell me one of these cars.
Right.
And so, the thing that convinced me on this whole thing is, one, he offered us $1,500 for that car, which it's only worth $2,000, maybe $2,500 in great condition, and it has at least $1,000, if not $2,000 worth of repairs or even $3,000
that has to be done.
That it needs.
Right.
So he offered us exactly what I was probably going to post it for, if not more. Right. I would have settled for probably less. We only got it for $1,000, so we made $500 on it.
Yeah.
After driving it for however long, and the kicker is, yeah, he's taking it off our hands, and he's grateful to do it instead of me haggling with some guy or girl about, well, it's like, oh, well, I can't really drive it with the head gasket there because, so I'm going to have to pay to get it towed, and that's going to cost me this, and that's going to, and be like, oh my gosh, just take this stupid car off my hands. I don't want to talk to you. No, I don't want to answer any more of your texts. No, I'm not willing to do a trade for another car. Like all those stupid things. Yes, you have to be in state. I'm not going to ship it to you. I don't care. All these kind of stupid online sales. So and then the other thing is, yeah, he gave us that $1,500 towards the car that, we were getting and everything. And so that ended up being $2,000 for that car.
Nice.
We actually upgraded to a 2006 that he hadn't listed or anything.
Nice.
So I'm like, we were going to end up paying $2,000 for that repair. Right. Instead of paying $2,000, we got a car where the radio actually works. The lock, the key fob works, and like all the preventative maintenance is already done, and
Right.
it's 5 years newer, and it has, you know, about 50,000 miles more. So I'm like, in my mind, we paid the same amount of money, but we got a much better car out of it than just repairing that and
Right.
you know, and everything like that. So I'm very happy with the result. Provided this car is not a piece of crap that just explodes or something.
Right.
But I mean, and you know, he's not like a dealer necessarily, so he already did admission or safety and emissions. He already did taxes and everything. So all Stephanie has to do is go to the DMV and pay for the title and the license,
Nice.
and the plates and everything.
Right.
But there's no dock fees, so that's $200 you save, you know, from any other dealership. And I asked him, like, with the dock fees and everything like that, like, is that just, you know, a big scam basically? He's just like, well, you know, you get your license and everything like right there. You get like a temporary license, and then the dealer goes to the DMV for you.
Right.
And everything. But then he just talked about how much of a headache that is, because he'd be in line behind the guy that just sold, you know, that's going in for some big dealership that sold 60 cars. And he's like, I got to sit there for 4 hours just because I sold one, you know, like that week or whatever. So he's like, so I don't do that anymore. It's like $200. Yeah, I'll sit in the DMV for 2 hours for $200.
Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. So all in all,
crazy. That's awesome, man.
It was a great buying experience for me, just because the guy was like no bull, no, he's like totally real, where he's like, yeah, I mean, people haven't bought this car because it's kind of got a funky smell. So, I mean, you can ride it around for a while, and, you know, eventually the smell is going to go away. It's got really low miles, and it's, you know, but people don't like it because of that.
Right.
This one, you know, this one's really nice, but, you know, and he's just like, and the other awesome thing about it is you can tell that he does know his, well, you can't really tell, but you get a sense that he really knows his stuff and everything, because then he hands you all the different stuff, all the paperwork and the disclosures you got to sign and all that kind of different stuff. And then he hands Stephanie this little half sheet of paper that's torn at the bottom, that you can tell that he prints two on the same page, and he tears the bottom half, you know, like licks it and like puts it on the corner of the table so he can rip it and everything. Okay. That has a list of common things that go wrong in Subarus and like how to prevent them.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, most common thing, blown head gasket. So keep an eye on your temperature. Always make sure you have coolant. Subarus always leak oil, so always check your oil. And he just goes through this like 6-point list that he gives to his customers. I'm like, this man cares. Like,
that's
this man,
awesome.
He's like, you know what? You're buying this car. Here's all the crap that I've seen. If you get this code, you know, you might need a new catalytic converter, or you could just do this workaround and like pass the emissions. You'll pass it about 80% of the time. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
That was like the cherry on top for me, where he's just like, all right, I'm gonna just, you know, give you a little tips on how to keep your car nice. And I'm like, what dealer does that? I mean, they're like, yeah, come back for oil changes or whatever. But this guy's like, yeah, I know how to take care of my car. I've taken care of all these cars. And the other cool thing is, I know that if I needed to, I could literally just buy the what's it called, the car that I just sold him back, and I would just pay his like repair cost. That's like really, like, that's where he's making his money. He's basically a mechanic that just does his own thing. He buys a car, fixes it, and sells it for the cost that it would be for someone else to fix it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you brought him a car and said, can you fix this? And he would say, it'll cost you $2,000. It would be the same as if you sold him the car and then he sold it back to you for $2,000 more than he bought it for.
Right.
So that's
crazy.
Exactly what I wanted dealer.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a lot of fun, and she's got a much newer car, feel a lot safer, and should be good stuff. Plus, it's pretty close to what I drive, and I've done so many repairs to my car that I'm very confident in all the repairs that are possible on that car. So
right.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, so cars are,
cars are
fun
cars.
Stuff. Yeah.
All over the world.
They are fun stuff. So hopefully we gave you a couple of things to do on a road trip.
Yeah.
Or be safe first.
Be safe. Watch out for the snows. Go when it's safe to drive.
And you know what? Take that back road if your car can handle it.
Absolutely.
First off, get a car that can handle it. That's the first tip.
That's the thing. But don't drive stupidly. Still be cautious.
Yeah. And then
and enjoy
have
yourself
some fun along the way
with others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we appreciate you joining this. And if you're listening in a car, I hope that this just
give us a honk.
Kind of we want to hear you just whenever you're listening to it, and when we hear our next someone honking at us, that's what we're going to assume. Oh, they're just listening to our podcast.
Oh my gosh, how does he know about it?
Oh, that's awesome. Just give us a honk. We'll give you a little wave.
That's right.
And there you go. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody. And we will talk to you in a week.
Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.